I always thought karma would feel sweeter than this. Standing in my childhood home's foyer, watching my sister Hannah parade her new fiancé around like a prize-winning show dog, I can't help but notice how his eyes keep finding mine across the room. If she only knew. I'm Trinity, the younger Garrett sister, though most people in our small town only know me as Hannah's sister. That's been my identity for 27 years, and until today, I'd accepted it. But seeing Jacob here, in my family's annual Christmas gathering, has stirred something I thought I'd buried years ago. "Trinity, darling, come meet Jacob properly." My mother's voice carries that familiar note of forced cheerfulness she uses when she wants me to play my part in Hannah's spotlight moments. I smooth down my burgundy dress and approach them, plastering on my best supportive sister smile. Jacob extends his hand, and I notice the slight tremor in his fingers as they brush against mine. "Nice to meet you," he says, his voice steady, despite the storm I see brewing behind his eyes. Hannah loops her arm through his possessively. "Jacob's a pediatric surgeon now. Can you believe it? When I bumped into him at that charity gala 3 months ago, it felt like fate. Fate. Right. More like carefully orchestrated social climbing. I remember when Jacob was just a medical student, working part-time at the coffee shop near my college campus. Back when he was just Jake, who made the perfect caramel macchiato and spent his breaks discussing obscure novels with me. "Congratulations to you both," I manage, just as Malik appears at my side like the guardian angel he is. "Trinity, help me with the wine?" He tugs at my elbow, reading my discomfort like always. In the kitchen, Malik corners me. "Spill, what's with the tension between you and Dr. McDreamy?" "Nothing." I busy myself with uncorking bottles. "Bull, I've known you since college, Trin. That was not nothing." Before I can respond, my father's booming voice fills the house. "Everyone to the dining room. Hannah has an announcement." Malik raises an eyebrow. Saved by the bell. But this conversation isn't over. We file into the dining room, where my mother has outdone herself with the decorations. Crystal snowflakes hang from the chandelier, catching the light and throwing rainbow patterns across the walls. Hannah stands at the head of the table, practically glowing in her designer dress. "Since everyone's here," she begins, "Jacob and I wanted to share our wonderful news. We're planning a summer wedding." The room erupts in congratulations. My mother dabs at her eyes with a napkin, while my father beams with pride. I feel Sophie, my cousin, squeeze my hand under the table. "Trinity," Hannah calls out, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. "Of course you'll be my maid of honor." The room goes quiet, waiting for my response. I feel Jacob's gaze burning into me, and for a moment I'm transported back to that rainy afternoon in the coffee shop when he first kissed me between the bookshelves. "Of course," I hear myself say. "I'd be honored." Hannah claps her hands together. "Perfect! Now, Mother, wait until you hear about the venue we're considering." As Hannah launches into wedding details, Sophie leans over. "You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." If only she knew how accurate that description was. Jacob catches my eye again, and this time he mouths something that looks suspiciously like, "We need to talk." Malik notices too, shooting me a questioning look. I shake my head slightly, silently begging him to drop it. But I know my best friend too well. He won't let this go. The evening progresses with increasing tension, at least for me. Everyone else seems caught up in Hannah's perfect engagement story, while I sit here wondering if karma has finally come calling. 3 years ago, When Jacob suddenly stopped showing up at the coffee shop, I assumed he'd just moved on. Now, here he is, engaged to my sister, looking at me like he's seeing both salvation and damnation. Trinity, dear. My mother interrupts my thoughts. Would you help serve dessert? As I stand, Jacob does too. Let me help, he offers, and before Hannah can protest, he's following me to the kitchen. The moment we're alone, he whispers, I had no idea she was your sister. Funny how that works, I reply, my hands shaking as I reach for the dessert plates. Though I suppose I should have mentioned my last name at some point between all those coffee shop conversations. Trin, don't. I turn to face him, finally meeting his eyes directly. Whatever this is, whatever you're thinking, just don't. But the way he's looking at me tells me this is far from over. And somehow, I know this Christmas is going to change everything, for better or worse. The dessert plates clatter slightly as I carry them back to the dining room, hyper-aware of Jacob's presence behind me. Hannah's voice cuts through the air before we even make it through the doorway. What took so long? She stands, taking the plates from my hands. I'll handle this. Jacob, come sit by me, darling. I retreat to my spot between Malik and Sophie, grateful for their buffer. Across the table, my mother chatters about wedding venues while my father nods along, occasionally glancing between his daughters with a puzzled expression. So, Jacob. Malik speaks up, his tone deceptively casual. Hannah mentioned you met at a charity gala. What kind of charity work interests you? Jacob shifts in his seat. Actually, I've always been passionate about literacy programs. Used to volunteer at this little bookstore cafe near... Speaking of charity, Hannah interrupts, we're thinking of asking guests to donate to children's hospitals instead of bringing gifts. Isn't that thoughtful? Sophie leans close to whisper. Is it just me? Or does she cut him off every time he tries to speak? I'm saved from responding when my mother stands up. Let's move to the living room for coffee. Trinity, help me with the cups. In the kitchen, she busies herself with the coffee maker. Hannah seems happy, she says, not looking at me. Though I must say, Jacob's quite different from her usual type. What do you mean? Oh, less polished perhaps, but he's a doctor, and that counts for something. She hands me a stack of cups. Just try to be supportive, dear. This is Hannah's moment. When isn't it? I want to say, but instead I nod and follow her out. The living room has transformed into a wedding planning headquarters, with Hannah holding court from the center of the sofa. Jacob stands by the fireplace, looking increasingly uncomfortable as she details their planned honeymoon destinations. Paris in June is simply magical, she's saying, though Jacob wanted something more rustic. She wrinkles her nose. Like that cabin retreat in Vermont we talked about? He asks. Hannah laughs. Oh, honey, that was just me being polite. We can't possibly spend our honeymoon in some wooden shack. I nearly drop the coffee cups when Jacob's eyes meet mine. That cabin retreat had been my dream vacation, something I'd told him about during our long conversations years ago. I need some air, I mutter, slipping out onto the back porch. The December air bites at my bare arms, but I welcome the cold. It helps clear my head, helps me forget the way Jacob used to look at me over his coffee counter, the way he'd leave little notes in the books I borrowed. The door creaks open behind me. You'll freeze out here. Jacob's voice is soft. I'm fine. He drapes his jacket over my shoulders. It smells like him. Coffee and that same cologne he used to wear. Trinity, we need to talk about what happened. What's there to talk about? You disappeared without a word, and now you're engaged to my sister. Story's pretty clear. It's not. He moves closer. I got accepted to my residency program across the country. I left you a letter at the shop explaining everything, asking you to wait. I never got any letter. What? His face pales. But I gave it to that manager, the older woman with the red hair. Margaret. I laugh bitterly. She was fired that same week for tampering with customer mail. Guess I know what happened to your letter. Jacob runs a hand through his hair. God, Trin, I thought you'd read it and decided not to respond. I thought you'd moved on. Well, I did. And so did you, apparently. Hannah. He starts, then stops. She reminded me of you at first, the way she laughed, her confidence, but she's not. The back door swings open. There you are. Hannah's voice shatters the moment. Jacob, why is your jacket on my sister? She looked cold, he says simply. Hannah's eyes narrow. How thoughtful. But we should head back inside. I'm about to show everyone our engagement photos. As she pulls Jacob away, Malik appears in the doorway. Want to tell me what that was about? Not here. He nods toward my car. Let's take a drive. Now? Yes, now, before you explode from whatever secret you're keeping. I glance back through the window. Hannah is showing off her ring while Jacob stares at his shoes. My mother beams with pride. My father looks confused as usual, and Sophie watches everything with suspicious eyes. Okay, I say, fishing my keys from my purse. But you're not going to like this story. Those are always the best kind. Malik grins, already heading for my car. As we pull out of the driveway, I catch one last glimpse of Jacob through the window. He's watching me leave, and the look on his face makes my heart race in a way it hasn't in 3 years. This is going to be a disaster. Malik and I end up at our usual spot, the 24-hour diner on Mason Street. Over coffee that's nowhere near as good as Jacob used to make. I tell him everything. Let me get this straight. Malik says, stirring his 3rd sugar packet into his cup. You had a secret coffee shop romance with Dr. Perfect, who's now somehow engaged to Hannah. That's the short version. And Hannah has no idea? None. I wrap my hands around my mug. We never exactly went public with whatever we were. It was just coffee talks and stolen kisses between bookshelves. Girl, this is mess. My phone buzzes. Hannah's name flashes on the screen. Where did you disappear to? Mother's asking about bridesmaid dress colors. Tell her you're having a crisis, Malik suggests. I text back. Needed to grab something from the store. Back soon. 3 dots appear immediately. Well, hurry. And when you come back, try to look more enthusiastic about my wedding. Your attitude is really bringing down the mood. Malik reads the text over my shoulder and whistles. Your sister's really something. She's always been like this. I show him more incoming messages. And wear something nicer tomorrow. That burgundy dress wasn't doing you any favors. Also, I'm thinking seafoam green for the bridesmaids. Try not to look too sickly in it. Classic Hannah, I mutter. Always knows exactly where to stick the knife. You need to tell her about Jacob. Are you insane? Think about it. If this comes out later. My phone buzzes again, but this time it's Jacob. Can we talk? Alone? Malik grabs my phone. Oh no. No, no, no! Don't you dare respond to that! I have to go back eventually. Yeah, but not to have secret conversations with your sister's fiancé. He gives me a serious look. Trinity, what are you hoping happens here? Before I can answer, the diner's door chimes. Sophie walks in, spotting us immediately. Thought I'd find you here. She slides into our booth. You missed quite a show. Hannah's going full bridezilla already. What did I miss? Well, after you left, she started planning the wedding party photos. Told Jacob she'd hire someone to Photoshop you to look thinner. Sophie rolls her eyes. He actually spoke up about that one. Said it was unnecessary and kind of cruel. My heart skips. Malik kicks me under the table. Then, Sophie continues, she started talking about how she's going to be the most beautiful bride ever. Not like her cousin Melissa, who looked like, and I quote, a stuffed sausage in white lace. Charming as ever, Malik mutters. But here's the interesting part. Sophie leans forward. Jacob kept trying to change the subject. Every time Hannah said something mean, he looked more uncomfortable. Then he excused himself to make a phone call, and I heard him in the hallway saying he's having second thoughts. My coffee cup freezes halfway to my mouth. What? He was talking to someone named Tom. Said something like, I don't know if I can do this. She's nothing like I thought she was. Malik shoots me a warning look, but I barely notice. My phone buzzes again with another text from Jacob. Please, I need to explain everything. Don't. Malik warns. I have to go back. I stand up. They'll get suspicious if I'm gone too long. Sophie grabs my arm. Wait. There's something else you should know. Hannah's been drinking champagne since you left, and she's getting nasty. Started telling stories about how you've always been jealous of her, how you try to copy everything she does. Lovely. I grab my coat. Guess I better go face the firing squad. I'm coming with you, Malik announces. Someone needs to keep you from doing something stupid. The drive back is tense. Sophie fills the silence with more details about Hannah's behavior, each story making my stomach twist tighter. When we pull into the driveway, I see Jacob standing on the front porch, phone in hand. Remember, Malik whispers as we get out, whatever happened between you two is in the past. Let it stay there. But as we walk toward the house, Jacob's eyes lock with mine, and I know nothing about this situation is staying in the past. The way he's looking at me, the way my heart is racing, this is very much about the present. Trinity, he starts, but the front door swings open. Hannah appears, champagne glass in hand. There you are. I was just telling everyone about that time in high school when you tried to copy my prom dress and looked absolutely ridiculous. She giggles, swaying slightly. Come in. I'm showing everyone the pictures. Jacob's jaw tightens. Hannah, maybe we should call it a night. Don't be silly. The party's just getting started. She grabs his arm. Unless you'd rather stand out here in the cold with my sister. The challenge in her voice is clear. Jacob looks between us, and for a moment I see something like determination flash across his face. This night is far from over. Inside, Hannah's impromptu slideshow of embarrassing photos has turned into a full-blown roast session. My mother keeps shooting concerned glances between her daughters, while my father has conveniently disappeared to his study. Oh, and this one! Hannah clicks to the next photo. Remember when Trinity thought she could pull off being a blonde? Disaster! I feel Jacob's eyes on me as I sink deeper into the couch. Malik squeezes my hand, while Sophie mutters something unflattering under her breath. Hannah, my mother interrupts. Perhaps we should look at those venue photos instead. But Mom, I'm just getting to the good ones. Hannah sways slightly, spilling champagne on the carpet. Like this gem from Trinity's failed attempt at dating the quarterback. What was his name? The one who ended up asking me out instead. Jacob stands abruptly. I need some air. Again? Hannah pouts. You've been so distracted tonight, darling. I just need a minute. He heads toward the kitchen and the back door beyond it. Hannah turns back to her audience, but I notice Malik giving me a subtle nod toward the kitchen. Go, he mouths. I'll distract her. Hey, Hannah, he calls out loudly. Tell everyone about that charity gala where you met Jacob. I'm sure that's a much better story. I slip away as Hannah launches into her practiced tale. In the kitchen, I find Jacob standing by the sink, gripping the counter so hard his knuckles are white. You okay? I ask softly. He turns, and the look in his eyes makes my breath catch. How do you do it? How do you just sit there while she... Years of practice. I try to smile, but fail. It's fine, really. It's not fine. He steps closer. None of this is fine. Trinity, I can't... The kitchen door swings open, and Sophie bursts in. Hannah's looking for more champagne. You've got about 30 seconds. Meet me by the old treehouse, Jacob whispers quickly. Midnight, please. Before I can respond, he's gone, leaving me staring at the space where he stood. Sophie raises an eyebrow. I shouldn't go, I say. Probably not. She opens the fridge. But you will. Back in the living room, Hannah has moved on to wedding dress styles. Of course, nothing too fitted, she's saying. We can't all have Trinity's luck of being built like a teenage boy. Jacob flinches visibly. My mother finally stands up. I think that's enough champagne for tonight, dear. Mom, I'm just having fun! Hannah protests as the glass is taken away. Tell them, Jacob. I'm fun, right? But Jacob is staring at his phone, jaw clenched. The room falls into awkward silence until Malik, bless him, fakes a yawn. Well, this has been something, but some of us have work tomorrow. The gathering breaks up quickly after that. Hannah tries to convince Jacob to stay longer, but he claims an early surgery. As everyone files out, I check my phone. 11:45 p.m. Don't. Malik warns, reading my mind. Nothing good happens at midnight meetings with engaged men. I have to know what he wants to say. He sighs. At least let me wait in the car. If Hannah catches you... At midnight exactly, I slip out the back door and make my way to the old treehouse. Jacob is already there, pacing beneath it. I didn't think you'd come, he says. I shouldn't have. I can't marry her. The words tumble out in a rush. I thought I could. I thought maybe I was remembering our time together through rose-colored glasses, but being here, seeing you again. He runs a hand through his hair. The way she treats you, the way she treats everyone, it's like she's a completely different person than who I thought I was dating. Jacob, let me finish. That letter I wrote? I told you I loved you, that I'd wait for you, that we could figure something out with the distance. When you didn't respond, it broke me. I threw myself into work, avoided relationships. Then I met Hannah, and she reminded me so much of you at first, or what I thought was you. But she's not you, Trinity. She's not even close. My heart pounds so loud, I'm sure he can hear it. What are you saying? I'm saying I made a mistake, a huge mistake, and I need to know if you ever felt the same way about me. Before I can answer, a twig snaps behind us. We spin around to find Sophie standing there, eyes wide. Hannah's looking for both of you, she says urgently. She's coming this way. Jacob steps toward me. Trinity, please! But I'm already backing away. I can't do this. I'm sorry. I run back to the house, leaving him standing under the treehouse where we used to read together as kids. Behind me, I hear Hannah's voice carrying through the night air. Jacob, what are you doing out here? Whatever his answer is, I don't stay to hear it. Some questions are better left unanswered. At least, that's what I try to tell myself. The next morning, Hannah summons everyone for an emergency wedding planning breakfast. I arrive late, hoping to avoid any one-on-one interactions, but the tension in the room hits me like a wall. Jacob sits at the dining table, staring into his coffee cup. Hannah flutters around, spreading wedding magazines everywhere, while my parents exchange worried glances. Trinity! Finally! Hannah chirps with forced cheerfulness. We were just discussing the engagement party next week. I'm thinking we'll host it here. Sounds great, I mumble, taking the only available seat directly across from Jacob. I still think we should wait, Jacob says quietly. Maybe take some time to... Nonsense! Hannah cuts him off. Everything's already arranged, right, Mother? My mother nods uncertainly. The caterers are booked. The doorbell rings, and Sophie bursts in with Malik right behind her. Sorry, we're late. Traffic was terrible. I don't recall inviting... Hannah starts, but Jacob suddenly stands up. I can't do this anymore. The room goes silent. Hannah's smile freezes. What do you mean, darling? This. All of it. He gestures around the table. The rushed engagement party, the wedding plans, the way you're steamrolling over everyone's feelings, including mine. Hannah laughs nervously. You're just stressed about work. No! Jacob's voice is firm. I've been trying to talk to you about this, but you won't listen. You never listen. My mother stands. Perhaps we should give them some privacy. No! Hannah snaps. Everyone stays. Jacob, whatever's bothering you, we can discuss it later. Like you discussed it when I tried to talk last night, or this morning, or every time I've tried to have a real conversation with you. The room crackles with tension. Malik shifts closer to me protectively. You're not the person I thought you were, Jacob continues. The way you treat people, especially your own sister. Hannah's head whips toward me. What does Trinity have to do with this? Everything. Jacob takes a deep breath. Because she's the one who showed me what real kindness looks like, what genuine connection feels like. My father finally speaks up. What exactly are you saying, son? I'm saying I can't marry Hannah. Jacob looks directly at me. Because 3 years ago, I fell in love with Trinity over coffee and books and real conversations, and I never stopped loving her. The room explodes into chaos. Hannah screams, my mother gasps, and Sophie grabs her phone, presumably to record whatever's about to happen. You and my sister! Hannah's voice rises to a shriek. When? How? Before I met you, Jacob says calmly. We lost touch due to a misunderstanding, but seeing her again, watching how you treat her, it made everything clear. Hannah lunges for her champagne glass, but my father intercepts it. Hannah, please. No! She whirls on me. You've always been jealous of me, always wanted what I have. Well, you can't have him. Actually, Jacob steps away from her. That's not your decision to make. He moves around the table until he's standing in front of me. Trinity, I know this is crazy, but I've never been more certain of anything. To my absolute shock, he drops to one knee. Oh my God, Sophie whispers, phone recording steadily. Trinity, Jacob says, pulling out a different ring than the one on Hannah's finger. I've carried this since the day I wrote that letter. I bought it because even then, I knew you were the one. Will you marry me? Hannah throws her water glass against the wall. This isn't happening. My mother sinks into a chair. My father looks like he might faint. Malik is grinning like this is the best drama he's ever witnessed. Trinity, Jacob prompts softly. Say something. I look at the simple sapphire ring, so different from Hannah's flashy diamond, and remember all those quiet moments in the coffee shop, all the real conversations we had, all the genuine laughter we shared. Yes, I whisper, then louder. Yes! Hannah's scream could probably be heard 3 blocks away. You can't be serious! Mother, father, do something! But my parents just stand there, seemingly struck dumb by the turn of events. Jacob slides the ring onto my finger, and it fits perfectly. This is insane! Hannah sobs. You'll regret this, both of you. The only thing I regret, Jacob says, standing and pulling me up with him, is not finding Trinity again sooner. Hannah grabs her purse and storms toward the door. This isn't over. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. After she slams out, the room falls into stunned silence. Sophie's still recording. Malik's trying not to laugh. My parents look shell-shocked. Well, my father finally says, I suppose we should open some wine. It's 10 a.m., my mother protests weakly. Exactly. He heads for the wine cellar. This calls for the good stuff. Jacob squeezes my hand, and I look up to find him smiling, really smiling, for the first time since he arrived. Worth the wait, he whispers, and despite the chaos we've just unleashed, I can't help but agree. The fallout is immediate and explosive. By evening, Hannah has already blasted our story across social media, painting herself as the victim of her conniving sister and unfaithful fiancé. My phone won't stop buzzing with notifications. She's really outdoing herself with these posts, Sophie says, scrolling through her phone. We're all gathered in my parents' living room, watching the drama unfold. My own sister, the snake in our family's garden. Bit dramatic, isn't it? Malik snorts. Wait till you see what she posted on Instagram. She's somehow turned this into a fundraising opportunity for victims of familial betrayal. She's already got 5,000 followers, Sophie adds. My mother paces by the window. This is a nightmare. Half the country club wives have already called to express their concerns. Let them talk, my father says, surprisingly calm after his 3rd glass of wine. They'll find something new to gossip about next week. My phone rings. Hannah's number. Jacob reaches for my hand as I answer and put it on speaker. You've ruined everything, she hisses. I hope you're happy. Hannah. Save it. I just called to let you know I'm going public with the whole story tomorrow. Every detail about how my sister seduced my fiancé. That's not what happened, Jacob interrupts. And you know it. Oh, really? Should I tell everyone how I found you two by the treehouse last night? How cozy you looked. My mother's head snaps up. What treehouse? Nothing happened, I say quickly. Right. Hannah's laugh is bitter. Nothing ever happens with perfect little Trinity, does it? She just somehow ends up with everything I want. Everything you want? Jacob's voice rises. You didn't even want me. You wanted a successful doctor to show off at parties. You never once asked about my dreams, my interests. Because they're boring. Who wants to hear about books and coffee and stupid cabin retreats? I did. I say quietly. I always did. The line goes quiet for a moment. When Hannah speaks again, her voice is ice cold. You know what? Keep him. Keep the ring. Keep your perfect little love story. But remember this. You've shown everyone exactly who you are now. The sister who stole her sibling's fiancé. That's your new identity. She hangs up. Sophie immediately checks her phone. And she's already posted about the call, with screenshots. How did she screenshot a phone call? Malik asks. She made it up. Sophie shows us the post, complete with fake text messages and everything. My mother sinks onto the couch. This will destroy our family's reputation. Mom, I start, but Jacob squeezes my hand. Mrs. McGregor, he says firmly, with all due respect, your family's reputation isn't more important than your daughter's happiness. And from what I've seen, you've been prioritizing the wrong daughter's happiness for years. The room falls silent. My father sets down his wineglass. He's right, Reese. We've enabled Hannah's behavior for too long. But she's our daughter. So is Trinity. My father turns to me. And we owe you an apology. Many apologies. My phone buzzes again. Another social media notification. Sophie grabs it before I can look. Oh, this is Rich. Hannah's now claiming she caught you two having an affair months ago, but tried to forgive you. That's impossible, Jacob says. I hadn't seen Trinity in 3 years before Christmas. Truth doesn't matter in Hannah's world, Malik points out. Only her version of it. Another buzz. Sophie's eyes widen. Okay, now she's gone too far. She's posting old photos of you, Trinity, but edited to make you look, well, not good. And she's tagging all your work contacts. She's trying to ruin my career? I grab the phone. Sure enough, Hannah has tagged my entire office, including my boss. Jacob stands up. This ends now. He pulls out his phone and dials. Tom? Yeah, it's me. Remember that legal team you recommended when I was setting up my practice? I need their number, now. My mother looks horrified. You're going to sue Hannah? No, Jacob says firmly. I'm going to protect Trinity. There's a difference. My father nods approvingly while my mother looks torn. Sophie's still monitoring Hannah's social media rampage, and Malik's already drafting counterstatements for my professional contacts. You don't have to do this, I tell Jacob. He cups my face in his hands. Yes, I do. I lost you once because I didn't fight hard enough. I won't make that mistake again. My phone buzzes one final time. A text from Hannah. Hope he's worth losing your family over. I look around the room, at my father's protective stance, my mother's slowly dawning realization, Sophie's fierce loyalty, Malik's unwavering support, and Jacob's loving determination. He is, I whisper, though Hannah can't hear me. But I haven't lost my family. I finally found it. 1 week later, I'm sitting in a sleek law office, watching Hannah's social media empire crumble in real time. Jacob's lawyers didn't mess around. 1 cease and desist letter with evidence of her defamation, and suddenly her truth-telling crusade doesn't seem so appealing. She's deleting everything, Sophie reports, refreshing her phone. All the fake texts, edited photos, work tags, gone. Malik scrolls through his own phone. The damage control is working. Your boss's email supporting you has already been shared hundreds of times. I still can't believe she tried to get me fired, I say, fiddling with my engagement ring. Jacob takes my hand. But it backfired. Your whole office rallied around you. The door opens, and Lisa, our lawyer, strides in. Good news. Hannah's agreed to sign the non-disclosure agreement. Her lawyer finally convinced her that continuing this vendetta would only hurt her own reputation. Speaking of reputation, Malik says, have you seen this? He holds up his phone, showing us a local news website. The headline reads, Local doctor breaks engagement after discovering fiancé's history of workplace bullying. What? I grab the phone. Apparently, Malik grins. Several of Hannah's former co-workers came forward with stories after seeing her social media meltdown. Turns out she's been leaving a trail of workplace harassment complaints at every job she's had. Sophie leans over to read. 3 different companies settled complaints against her? How did we not know about this? Money. Lisa says simply, your parents paid to keep it quiet. But now my phone rings. It's my mother. Have you seen the article? She asks without preamble. Just reading it now. She sighs heavily. Your father and we enabled this. All of it. We thought we were protecting Hannah, but we were just helping her hurt more people. A pause. Including you. Mom. No, let me finish. We're cutting her off. No more paying to hide her mistakes. No more defending her behavior. She needs to face consequences for once. Before I can respond, Sophie gasps. Guys? Hannah just went live on Instagram. We huddle around her phone. Hannah appears on screen, mascara streaked down her face. My own family has betrayed me, she sobs. My sister stole my fiancé, my parents cut me off, and now everyone's believing these ridiculous lies about my past. Well, I have one final truth to share. Jacob tenses beside me. Trinity and Jacob. Hannah's face hardens. You think you've won? Well, guess what? I'm pregnant. That's right, with Jacob's baby. The room goes dead silent. Lisa immediately starts typing on her phone, while Sophie and Malik turn to stare at Jacob. That's impossible, he says firmly. We did once, but it was months ago, and she told me she was on birth control. I'll schedule a paternity test immediately, Lisa says. But first we need to... My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. It's a photo of a pregnancy test. Negative, with a message. Found this in Hannah's trash yesterday. Thought you should know. Her housekeeper, Maria. I wordlessly show it to Lisa, who smiles grimly. Perfect. One more lie we can prove. Should we post it? Sophie asks. No, I say, surprising everyone. Let's give her one chance to tell the truth herself. Jacob squeezes my hand. You're a better person than she deserves. Lisa nods and sends a quick message. Within minutes, Hannah's live stream ends abruptly. 10 minutes later, a new post appears. I apologize for my previous statement. I am not pregnant. In my pain and anger, I lied, and I'm sorry. I will be taking time away from social media to work on myself. Well, Malik says, that's as close to genuine as Hannah gets. My phone buzzes again, another text from my mother. Hannah just called, hysterical, said she needs help. Real help this time. Your father and I are looking into therapy programs. Good, I text back. That's what she's always needed. Sophie stands and stretches. So, now that the drama's dying down, can we finally talk about happy things, like your actual engagement? Jacob grins. Well, I did promise Trinity a cabin retreat in Vermont. For the honeymoon? Malik asks. No. Jacob looks at me. For this weekend, I think we've earned a quiet getaway. Lisa clears her throat. Everything's handled here. Go, be happy. Let the lawyers deal with any more fallout. As we leave the office, I feel lighter than I have in years. Hannah's revenge plot revealed more truth than she intended about herself, our family, and the strength of real love. Ready to start our story properly this time? Jacob asks as we reach his car. I look up at him, remembering that first coffee shop conversation years ago. Actually, I think our story started exactly when it was supposed to. The Vermont cabin exceeds every dream I'd shared with Jacob over coffee years ago. Snow blankets the surrounding woods, and a frozen lake sparkles in the distance. Inside, a fire crackles in the stone fireplace while we unpack our weekend bags. Still can't believe you remembered all the details, I say, running my hand along the rustic wooden beams, right down to the reading nook by the window. I remembered everything about us. Jacob pulls me close. Even the exact coffee order you had the day we met. My phone buzzes. Sophie sending updates from home. Hannah checked into the treatment facility this morning. Mom says she went voluntarily. That's good, right? Yeah. I set the phone down, though part of me keeps waiting for another shoe to drop. Trinity. Jacob leads me to the window seat. You don't have to keep waiting for disasters. Sometimes things just work out the way they're supposed to. As if on cue, my phone lights up with a message from Hannah herself. I'm sorry. For everything. Not just the recent stuff, but all of it. Years of it. The therapist here says I need to make amends, but I know sorry isn't enough. I'll do better. Be better. Maybe someday we can try being real sisters. Wow. Jacob reads over my shoulder. That's unexpected. Yeah. I type back a simple response. Thank you. Take care of yourself. We'll talk when you're ready. Setting the phone aside, I curl into Jacob's arms, watching snow fall outside. You know what this reminds me of? What? That book you recommended during my first visit to the coffee shop, the one about second chances. He laughs. I was trying so hard to impress you with my literary knowledge. It worked. Speaking of books, he reaches into his bag and pulls out a familiar-looking envelope, yellowed with age. I found it, the original letter. My heart skips. Where? Margaret, the manager who got fired? She reached out after seeing the news, said she found it while cleaning out her old office boxes and felt guilty all these years. With trembling fingers, I open the envelope. The paper inside is creased, the ink slightly faded, but the words are clear. Dear Trinity, I'm leaving for my residency tomorrow, but I couldn't go without telling you how I feel. These past months with you have been the most real thing I've ever known. I love the way you laugh without holding back. I love how you get excited about obscure book references. I love that you dream of Vermont cabins and quiet moments. I love you. I know the timing is terrible, and the distance will be hard, but I want to try. I want everything with you. The coffee shop conversations, the shared books, the cabin in the woods. All of it. Will you wait for me? Love, Jacob. Well, he asks softly, would you have waited? You know I would have. I fold the letter carefully, but maybe we needed the time apart, to grow, to learn what we really wanted. To appreciate what we have now. Exactly. A notification pops up on my phone. Malik sharing Hannah's latest therapy update in our group chat. But, for once, I don't feel the need to check it immediately. Dance with me, Jacob says suddenly. There's no music. He pulls out his phone, and soft notes fill the cabin, the same song that often played in the coffee shop during our late-night talks. As we sway by the firelight, I think about karma and consequences, about revenge and redemption. Hannah's actions led to her own unraveling, but they also led to healing. For her, for our family, for me. "What are you thinking about?" Jacob asks. "How sometimes the worst moments lead to the best ones. How losing you led to finding you again. How Hannah's revenge actually set everyone free." He spins me gently. "Including Hannah herself. Yeah." I rest my head on his shoulder. Though I have to admit, part of me enjoyed watching her perfect facade crumble. "Only part of you?" "Okay, maybe a lot of me." I laugh. "Does that make me a bad person?" "No." He kisses my forehead. "It makes you human. Besides, you showed mercy when it mattered. You could have exposed her fake pregnancy test, but you gave her a chance to tell the truth herself." "Because I finally realized something. Living well really is the best revenge." Outside, the snow falls harder, cocooning us in our private world. My phone lights up again. More messages from family and friends. But they can wait. Right now, in this moment, karma has given way to peace. The coffee shop romance has become a real-life love story. And the sister who always lived in the shadows has stepped into her own light. "So," Jacob whispers as we dance, "ready to write our next chapter?" I smile, remembering all the chapters that led us here. The missed connections, the family drama, the sweet revenge that turned into something better. "Actually," I say, "I think I like the chapter we're in right now.